Good morning and welcome to Coffee and Cosmos with Robin. My name is Robin Fritz and all right, trying to get my computer up here. So today I want to talk about a life-changing event for you. What was a life-changing event in your life and what does it mean to you? And it'll be pretty interesting to share our experiences here. So let's get started. Welcome again to Coffee and Cosmos with Robin. My name is Robin Fritz. I'm an intuitive and spiritual consultant and certified past life regression specialist based in Seattle. And today I want to talk about a life event that dramatically changed my life and how we might look at those events in our own lives. And I'm not talking about an event like a birth or a wedding or something like that, although those are important events. I'm talking about an event that literally turns your world upside down and changes your life so that you're going in a completely different direction and maybe even a direction you didn't even know existed. And that was certainly my case. And we're going to talk about the mind, body, spirit aspects of that. When you meet a life-changing situation, what do you do next, right? So let's join in together. Please also chime in, let me know where you're joining us from. And when I get through my little discussion here and you can share your events, we might have time for a few live readings. But first, it's been a busy week around the world. Let's get grounded and balanced together. This is Fallon, the Citrine Lemurian Quartz. As you concentrate on Fallon, take a deep breath and just feel the connection to the energy. This is a wonderful space that the Om Times creators have given us to share. And here's your opportunity to literally get grounded and balanced in yourself and with the community. So if you take your attention to the top of your head as you breathe down your body from head to toe, just bring mind, body, and spirit together. And just release the cares of the day so that you're here in this space with us, and this can give you a boost for the rest of your week. So breathing down from the top of your head, down your face, shoulders, chest, hips, knees, and feet, the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. And as you breathe back up, you can welcome in Fallon's healing energy. Fallon is Citrine Lemurian Quartz. You can see my shawl reflected in that. And he often, if people experience it as a gold light, and imagine that gold light going straight to your heart chakra and just filling you up with healthy energy. So breathing up from your feet, past your knees, hips, chest, shoulders, face, and the top of your head. You may feel a little lightheaded. This founds a very powerful crystal. And that's your way of tuning in to your intuitive abilities. So today I wanted to share with you a life event that changed my life dramatically and see if you've had an event like that and if you'd like to share it with us. So hello, thanks for chiming in there, Samantha. So February 28th was last Friday? And February 28th, 2001 was a day that dramatically changed my life. My first Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, Murphy Brown, better known as Murphy, was curling up to take a nap when she suddenly leaped up barking and snapping and trying to drag me out of the house. Now, this is a 20-pound mild-mannered dog. So I was like, oh my gosh, what just happened here? And she was insistent. She just barking and barking and barking at the top of her lungs for no reason. I mean, she was curling up for a nap and then she just leaped straight up in the air. So I figured, wow, major have to get outside quick thing. And we got my shoes on. We got out in the hallway. Boom. Something horrible was happening. I didn't know what it was. I thought a plane had landed or crashed into a hillside behind our building here, but instead, Seattle had been hit by a major earthquake. Okay, so I live in Seattle, Washington. We get about 1,000 earthquakes a year out here. Very few of them on an annual basis that most of us notice, but this was 6.8 magnitude earthquake. It caused a lot of damage in the area, and certainly during the time that earthquake occurred, Murphy, my dog, and I each acted to save the other's life. Okay, so when it was all over and we walked through the neighborhood, checked on our neighbors, checked on each other, and kind of like sitting there in shock because you're looking outside during the earthquake trying to figure out what to do, and the telephone poles are whipping side to side. Later that day, I looked at Murphy and I went, wait, you went crazy several minutes before the earthquake hit. You knew it was coming. How did she know the earthquake was coming? That's the major life event that changed my life. And for you to meet yours, here's a suggestion. When I realized that my dog knew that an earthquake was coming before it got here, which meant that my dog may not have a PhD in science, but she had it way over our scientists. She basically was an early warning system for earthquakes. It's like, how could we tap that knowledge to help people get to shelter in a minute or two before a major earthquake strikes? But what was it in her that knew that quake was coming? And I realized it at the time that this was a dramatic change, that I could look at this and explore it and try to figure out what happened, or I could ignore it and walk away. Of course, who's going to ignore it and walk away, right? Maybe some of us, but I was really fascinated. I was like, okay, I have to figure out what this is. There's more going on in the world than I know, and I want to know what it is. And that's what started me on the road that led me to today. One of the things, Murphy and I shared health issues, immune system dysfunctions that were very puzzling. It was a long road to health for both of us, but for me, it was also reawakening my childhood abilities to converse with the planet, to spend time with a tree or with the ocean or a windstorm and find out what it does for a living, so to speak. But looking at my dog, I realized there was more going on in the world and I wanted to know what it was. And that is one of the things that could be your jolt to awareness, to understanding the world as a diverse system where we are all balanced and connected and we are all equals with everything out there. That everything has a soul, has consciousness, has a job to do, a responsibility to do it, and certainly opinions. So here's the thing. Fascinated by an ability that my dog had that I didn't know anybody else had, I started researching. I applied scientific principles. I experimented. I tried to figure out what was going on in her head and how I could understand it. And the truth is, I knew my dog was very different. I knew that out on the street, she would respond to people differently. Some people were fascinated by that, and some would turn around and literally run down the street because it freaked them out. So I was already realizing that there was more to my dog than what we thought of as a dog. But the really cool thing was that I didn't make any preconceptions about what had happened. My only preconception or my only idea at that point was, what is it about this dog or maybe animals in general or some animals that makes them aware of an earthquake before it hits? And how can we apply that knowledge to our understanding of the world around us? How can we become closer to nature? What can we learn from other life? And that, I think, is something that I've had all my life. And I know a lot of you who live with animals have the same feeling, that they're family members, but they're also thinking individuals. They just happen to be in bodies, in animal bodies. And you don't hold that against them. So what I discovered over time was that, yes, there is a long, long history going back to humans first living with animals, where people noticed the response of animals to earthquakes before the earthquakes happened. So they were noticing changes in animal behavior, and then an earthquake hits. And in some parts of the world, China, for example, they actually use an animal's sudden strange behavior to prepare for a coming earthquake. But what else is involved in that? And that's where we can explore and figure out what's going on around us and apply it to our overall understanding of the world. As a young child, I was very connected to nature, actually more connected to nature than to people, because I could understand it. And even today, when I teach people how to use their intuition, one of the things I teach is how to connect with the world around you respectfully and with curiosity and with compassion and with, wow, this is who I am. Who are you? Would you like to have a conversation? So, it was 19 years on Friday since the earthquake. And in a few days, it will be 8 years since Murphy died. So you start to, add up things in your life. And what I wanted to share with you was what happens when a major event happens in your life? How do you recognize it? And so for me, it was this complete shock that my dog acted to get us out of the house ahead of the earthquake. And that during the earthquake, when I was still trying to figure out what was happening, this horrific noise that was so loud, I thought my head was going to explode, that my dog and I each acted to save each other's life. To me, that was demonstrating intelligence, compassion, family, love, dependence, all of the things that we want in our lives, this mutual interaction. And it really advanced our understanding of each other, prompted me to try to learn to communicate with her, to have conversations with her. And now I do all of those kinds of intuitive things for a living, and also teach other people how to use theirs, because it's important how we connect with things. So I call that day my birth of consciousness. So, and hi, thanks for chiming in. If anyone has a comment on what your life experiences, or what major event like that happened with you, please share it. Barbara has a comment. Animals exist on more than one plane. Vibrational creatures that see, sense, and process more dimensionally than most humans. And Barbara, that's really very true. At the time, I did not understand that. I knew my dog was very different. I mean, in a sense, she had to learn how to be a dog. I actually watched her look at other dogs and imitate their behavior. Acting like a human was second nature to her. So I learned a lot about the dog and about all the animals in my life over time. But what was interesting to me was how it seemed as if a choice was being presented to me. But here I could explore, and this was 19 years ago. I hadn't even heard of animal communication. That was my year of really learning, 2001. It was an opportunity to explore the world, to think in terms that are larger than humans usually think in. And that, I think, is where all progress is made, really, by us putting aside our preconceptions and going, hey, here's something new. How do I react to it? Do I react to it like a human who's in charge of everything? Or do I go, wow, what can I learn from this? And we're all here together in community because we're curious and we're interested in learning, and we are aware that souls take many different forms and have many different jobs to do in the world. So I just want to offer you some body, mind, and spirit tips on what to do when you have a major life event. Now, I'm not saying it can't be a wedding or a birth. I'm just saying when that event occurs, at least in my experience, and the people I've talked to had major life events, you literally know that everything could change in your life if you do one specific thing. So that day I thought, oh my gosh, I could ignore this, or I could find out how my dog knew that earthquake was coming and what that means going down the road to the future. And that's what I did. Learned an awful lot. Learned to talk to volcanoes and souls and spirit guides and hurricanes and animals and trees. So here's some tips. So body tip, pay attention. when a major event occurs, pay attention, look at it. A big change, I think, in your life is going to happen like an earthquake. Suddenly, out of the blue, not expecting it. So fast and shocking. So the first thing you would do in a major event is take care of business, right? In our case, my dog got us out of the house, but she got us in the hallway, which was more dangerous than being in the house because things were flying off the walls. But take care of the business around you. You may be in the middle of an earthquake. It may be something else, a storm. It may be this current virus that's traveling around the world. Take steps to protect yourself and those around you. Take care of business. And then stop and think, what did I learn from this? Where do I take this learning? How does it inform my life? How does it inform the lives of my human and animal family members, my friends, my community, and the world around me? How can you spread the knowledge that you learn to make the world a better place? And that's one of the things that we're here to do, right? So for me, my dog knew an earthquake was coming. What did that teach me about what science knew? Ask yourself, what else have I been missing? Now that I'm aware of this, what else is out there? What else can I learn? And what could it mean? And these are all things that your body's going through and exploring while you're thinking, okay, so body, mind, and spirit are really kind of a cohesive thing. And like I said, I discovered that animals responding before an earthquake is a common phenomenon and used in parts of the world to help alert them. It's that they're more tuned into the vibrations of the planet and can feel them ahead of what we can feel. So she literally felt the earthquake, the movement of the earth before it got here. And so ask yourself, what could that mean in your daily life? How would your daily life change if you acknowledge this huge life event? And for me, everything changed. I mean, I was already aware my dog was something really different, very unique soul. And then I started to experiment, to explore, to reach out, to figure out how that would affect the world and what my role in that would be. And it's also fun, right? So don't forget to have fun. So those are the body and some of the mind aspects. But so in additional thinking about this, what do you think about? Like, how does your experience matter? And remember that your experience does matter. My experience with my dog changed my life, but it also changed a lot of other life and people who worked with me, taking classes with me, or even friends. We realized the world was bigger than we thought. But, remember that this has been a kind of theme in human history. Galileo was a medieval scientist who was silenced by the Christian church because he said that, the sun does not revolve around the earth. And that was not accepted religious thinking at the time, but it was correct science. So your experience and your knowledge matters, and how will you apply that to boost your welfare, the welfare of your family, yourself, and the world around you? And how do you feel about that event? And this is a body-mind thing. Are you bored? Are you excited? Are you scared? And what are you going to do with those feelings? And again, a sense of humor is important, right? So I talked about my dog as a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. Earthquake early warning system. And to this day, I still think of it that way. So spirit, remember, always remember, your spiritual team is always there to support you, but your spiritual team can't do anything unless you ask, right? So reach out to your spiritual team. I didn't even know spirit guides existed then. When I heard about them, I felt again that my life had been turned upside down and it was suddenly being written in a foreign language that I couldn't understand. But I stuck with it and I persevered and I learned. So your spiritual team, you got ahead much farther ahead than I was then. So you have a spiritual team. So call on them to support you. Call on them to give you advice and help you sort through the experience that you had, that life-changing, world-changing event for you. Always keep yourself grounded and balanced. That's why I have the lavender, why I have sea salt, why I have all kinds of crystals as a reminder to keep myself grounded and balanced. That's important. And you'll find ways that you can keep yourself grounded and balanced. And remember, first and foremost, that all of us are here growing our souls. The body we choose is the body we chose for that thing that we signed up for before we were born. And animals, right now in our culture, animals have signed up for jobs that a lot of us can't even begin to comprehend, because they don't have the bias that we have, the subconscious human bias that thinks that we're in charge and we're like, yeah, we're apex predators, but beyond that, what we think about ourselves isn't exactly true. So think about what you're doing here, how you're growing your soul, and will your response to this life-changing event, will it grow your soul or will it hold you back? Will it impair your progress in a way if you pursue it? And those are serious questions that only you can ask, but your spirituality can help you work through those questions to come to a solution that works for you. So I hope this makes sense to you. It's just when February 28th dawned on Friday and I realized, oh my gosh, that's the day my life really changed. And there are many, many times in our lives where things change for us. Like I said, births and deaths and weddings and all kinds of things. But those life-changing events, there's a few of them in your lifetime. And the question is, what are you going to do about it? So bring body, mind, and spirit together. Call on your spiritual team. Ask them for advice. Think through your options. What makes sense to you? You're all smart, caring people, and the world needs you right now. The world needs sane people. The world needs loving, compassionate people. We're going into crisis here in the world, and we need all of us to be our best. So I hope these tips give you some ideas. Let me thank you all for chiming in from, wow, Ohio, New York. Teresa, I'm not sure where is that, Hawaii? So hi, everyone. Montreal. My dog was a familiar. My dog, she was here in two bodies at the same time. That soul is back in my dog's body right now. Ollie, my third Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. Well beyond what I call a familiar. Actually, my cat would be what would traditionally be called a familiar. This soul that lives in my dog bodies and I and my cat have been around for many, many lifetimes. And that particular soul is the most advanced soul I've ever met. And the first time I met it in this lifetime, that soul was in a human body. So I know early on that souls take the bodies they need at that particular time to do their work. And this soul is just really, really busy. And it's my honor to share a life with it when it keeps coming back. And I see it all around me in the lives of people around me. So very, very amazing soul. So Dominique, my dad, forgot the dog at the beach, and the dog came back a 5-hour drive. Wow. Okay, I bet your dog wanted to go. Hey, like, what were you thinking? Yes, I'm so glad your dad and your dog got reunited. And isn't it amazing how they find their way home again? So thanks for sharing that. And hope I didn't miss anything here. So thank you all for chiming in. Now I want to share the crystal of the day with you. And again, I wanted to use the same crystal as last week's smoky quartz. I actually don't have smoky quartz, but smoky quartz is similar. Phenolin is citrine Lemurian quartz, which is a very, very rare quartz. Smoky quartz would be like a clear quartz with some more grounding elements in it. And so it's really great for reducing stress. It's also great for keeping you grounded and balanced. And while it clears out, stress and worry, it helps keep you steady. So in an emergency, when you might be nervous, smoky quartz is a great thing to go like, okay, feet on the ground, job to do, I can do it. So It's one of many crystals that is good for grounding and balancing. My favorite of those is columbite, which is a black, almost like a tektite, very heavy grounding crystal. So you can find crystals that work for you by going online. Judy Hall has a number of books out there with great pictures. My friend Kim Valines at Earthlight Rocks and Gems here in Washington State has an Etsy site. Her crystals are really healthy. When you buy crystals, don't look at the price so much as how healthy they are. There are a lot of places where you can buy crystals that have been so damaged and so mistreated during the mining and selling process that they're virtually unusable for themselves or for you. I have a regular nursery here that people bring sick crystals to me, and they recover over time, but some of them have taken literally months and years to recover. So get a crystal from a person who knows that they're alive and keeps them healthy, and invite them to join with you to explore the world together. And crystals are amazing beings. They have been in those bodies for literally thousands of years. So they have a lot of information to impart. So we'll do a show on that, introducing yourself to a crystal and finding out what it has to say to you. So I want to thank you for joining me today. If you have questions, tag me on my Facebook page, The Practical Intuitive. And there's a lot going on in the world right now. We'll talk about it in the coming weeks. All of the things that can affect us, that can knock us off balance. But here is a place for us to come together. I also want to tell you that now that my dog is recovered from in the process of recovering from his injury, I am launching my online mentoring program, $25 a month, where we're really going to work on our intuition, our healing abilities, practice together, really a place to come together in community to just boost your intuitive skills. And I have a whole lot of other things coming up. I'll be opening up a group connected to my page. But for today, I want to thank you for joining me. Thank you for chiming in and sharing your stories and just telling us where you're from. And as we close out, let's cross our hands over our heart and just breathe in that healthy energy. You can breathe in that connection that you had with Fallon. And I want to thank you again for joining me. I'll be here next week. If you have any questions during the week, please feel free. Catch me on my Facebook page, at my website, robinfritz.com. I offer personal and business intuition, mediumship, animal communication, space clearing, past life and between life regression, a healing process, soul progression clearing, which offers intuitive insight, shamanic modalities, and energy healing to really help clear out your blocks and move you forward. So in the coming days, remember, hands on your heart can bring healthy energy to you, help you keep you grounded and balanced. Thank you for joining me. Take care, and we'll see you next week. Take care.